That's unintentional. I don't know. It's just the way the lighting is.
But it's interesting about the voice, right? I mean, I don't know. I always sort of imagine that though what we're hearing is that they're hearing their partner speaking through the deer. On a conscious level, the voice of the deer isn't necessarily gendered. But I don't know.
We also chose not to put an effect on the voice. That was my choice because I thought his intention, it seems, that's why I wanted the person to also be there in the room. Not acknowledge, but just be there. Yeah. To not, to play to what he's written. Yes?
I was kind of expecting right at the very end, after she killed him, he's laying on the floor, for there to be another dialogue like that with his corpse. I'm not sure what they would have said or gone on from there, but it seemed like that.
I gave him the opportunity to talk to me. You noticed that, though.
Yeah.
I gave him the opportunity.
But you already played the deer and you couldn't talk to him.
Yeah, but after killing the deer and having the dialogue, and after killing him and having it seemed like a natural, it sounded like what would have been said to carry on the story. But
that's the sequel, Deer 2.
Yeah.
The Return of Kenny.
Yeah, while she's burying him. Chunks of deer being digested are going to start screaming.
You mentioned that the catalyst for this script was a friend of yours who had an experience hitting a deer, but where did all the rest of the play come from?
Well, you know, I don't really know. I think I mentioned stagnation, feeling of stagnation,
yes.
and I mean I don't really remember. I think at the time I was in a relationship that was destructive.
Okay.
And I think I remember being aware, you know, my God, if this goes on much longer, someone's going to get killed. And so somehow that got connected to this idea about the deer, that what would it take for someone to actually get killed, and is that inciting incident, does that set that off, or are those two things connected?
Well,
does that answer your question?
Yeah. Yeah, well, that tells me that you wrote something you knew about.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry to say, but yeah.
Yes.
In the very beginning, when it was introduced, they talked about this theme of becoming invisible, and you referred to stagnation, and it says specifically the woman becoming invisible. Do you think a case could be made that the same thing was happening to the man?
Oh yeah, I think so. Yeah. Yeah.
And
Sure.
you chose to make the woman the one to win.
Yeah, I mean, I would love to say that thematically there's a reason behind that, and I'm sure at the time I thought there was, and I wish I could remember. But the truth is, it was probably very much, you know, my friend who hit the deer was probably really for me about, oh, she's gonna be, you know, it was probably more a function of that than the theme, I think. It's hard to remember these things, you know.
Yeah. I think that's interesting, the comment about winning and what is winning and what does that mean. And we talked about this a lot in rehearsal. The phrase "I love you" is uttered more in this play than any other phrase, and I think the characters definitely use that as a tool to manipulate sometimes, but I don't think that makes it any less true. I think you just use that.
Which one won?
I don't know. That's for all of you to take away by yourselves. But I don't know. That's just the question that I, as the director, had to ask myself. I wanted the ending to feel triumphant, but I don't know that that means anybody won.
Oh, well, I think it's obvious. He did. He got out of the relationship.
Well, and she's...
And I gave him that.
Yeah,
right.
She says, you told me
Yeah.
that putting things out of their misery is an act of love.
Sure.
And she says, I love you
He
the whole
showed her how
play.
to do it. He tried to kill the deer, and so she carried it on and released it.
Yeah. So I don't know that it wasn't out of an act of love, and that is something that I was interested in as a director. So
Well,
going back to you, who wins, I don't know.
Well, he gave her the means. He left all these books and stuff like that she's going to get fabulously wealthy from selling it because of his demise.
Sure, but who knows if that will happen?
The second play.
The daughter.
That's what she's playing.
Yeah, that's what she's got planned. We'll see what works out. Yes.
Just something that I had noticed from the beginning of it, from that scene where you two were in the car and Lisa's character was saying absolutely nothing, and John's character was just
For me?
You mean when
Yes.
I'm scrubbing the floor?
No, when
No,
after I'm
Or
dead.
after you're dead?
Yeah.
Oh,
And you're talking,
Yeah.
you're talking to me and I'm not.
And you're not responding.
Yeah, very much. Very much so. Yeah.
I think the play has a mirroring structure.
Yes.
That after
Yeah.
sex, the roles sort of switch.
Agreed.
Yeah.
So, the second act's short. Did you think at any point in time? I mean, was that your intention as the writer? Did you ever consider making it just a long one act?
Okay, now that's a good question. This is the first production. So it's hard to know on the page. I had written in an intermission, really just so that they'd have a chance to clean off the blood and the dirt, frankly. So it was really about that. I think before thinking practically about that, it was going to be all the way through, as most of my stuff is.
So practicality, functionality.
Yeah, it's really about practicality, and I think I even put in the script that in some theoretical version, if there's a
Yeah, if someone
a
can
way
do
to
that,
do
they
it.
should probably
You
let
put
me
it in
know.
there
It
that
takes
you
me
need
the
to-
full 15 minutes.
Yeah.
to do that.
I'm curious,
Yeah.
Have you considered turning this into a screenplay?
Yeah. There's been some conversation
Okay.
about that, but very, very preliminary.
Sure.
And there's another screenplay that I'm going to work on first, and I want to see what happens. But yeah, it's in the ether.
Okay.
I don't know. It could be a fun little.
Yeah.
Is there anything you would change now that you've seen it on stage being performed?
Yeah, there's little. Yeah, it's hard for me to pinpoint right now. I mean, there's little things here and there that you just sort of don't know until you. Yeah, but in terms of bigger things, I think it'll take me a minute to go away from it. It's been a while since I've read this thing. Yeah, because I wanted to really experience it with as much perspective or lack of perspective. What am I trying to say? As much, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, thank you. I'm only a writer. I can't think of it.
It's okay.
So it's going to take me a minute to sort of.
How long ago did you finish writing the play, and this is the first production you've seen?
This is the first time I've seen the play. Well, I saw it last night, but yeah,
Okay, last night.
I've never seen it done. I wrote it, I think, like 2013, 14 maybe, and there were a few years where we did readings in New York off and on. So there's a period of development. I haven't heard it out loud since I think, like, I don't know. It's been maybe 2 or 3 years.
Was there anything like in the creative license that they took that surprised you or took you back or you were really surprised by? Anything like expect or not put it in a negative light that you didn't like or that was just kind of like, whoa, that's not how I really meant for it to be, or has it been so long that you don't?
No, there are certainly things that are different than I imagined, but I think they work. I was very, very pleasantly surprised and greatly relieved, as you can imagine, to feel like, oh, it can be done this way too, and that's exciting, you know. Yeah, I don't know that I can be really more specific than that, but in only positive ways, I think.
You can't stifling it. It can only be done.
Yeah. It's a relief to discover that that's not the case.
Is it common for playwrights or for you to, when you see a work for the first time, make substantial changes to a play?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah, but not after it's already open.
Okay.
This is sort of an unusual case because the play is published. The play was published and is available for licensing before it had ever been produced. So.
Which is very,
Very
unusual.
Very unusual.
Almost no play ever gets published until it's been produced for the first time.
Yeah.
Which was an extraordinary opportunity for Stage West because they would never have gotten a hold of it had it not been published by a reputable publishing company that would then have advertised it. Right? I assume you got it off their website or something like that?
From Dramatist.
You got it from Dramatist,
It was in a catalog, if I recall.
Yeah.
Catalog. I was like, oh,
Sure.
this
Yeah, they picked it up, this licensing company, before it had been done, which happens, I mean, you know. So it's unusual, and in that context, that's one of the reasons I wanted to come after it was open, because I felt like I don't want to be in a position to want to do all of that. And I want to see what it is and let it be, you know what I mean? Rather than sort of hover and tinker. And also because I'm sort of removed from the writing of it, that I felt like it's not necessarily I'm not necessarily the same entity that I was in the writing of it, and I don't know that it would be the best thing for me to come in and try to fix, because I might not be right anymore about that. That makes sense.
I thought one of the spectacular things is we couldn't see what was coming, but as things took a big switch, we didn't feel, like tricked or betrayed. Everything made sense as it went along, but there were lots of surprises, but not the bad kind of surprises.
Good.
Yeah.
That's good.
I think that's one of the things that he's done so wonderfully,
yes.
is that we've sort of seen this, and the show is very aware of itself in that he says, you're like Kathy Bates in Misery, or like, the first third is a little slow, I need to tighten up that whole first third. But that's character development, that's nuance. So there's this like, there's this aware of itself nature that the play has, which I think is where some of that comedy comes in. That there's this like the person you spent 35 years with, you know them, but you can't predict their next move, kind of thing. And I think he's done that really well in the structure.
I was tickled that she was all upset about her garden, and he was saying, well, no, it's just lawn and grass. That's why I'm thinking about her beautiful garden, and then to find out that it's gourds. Like the most useless thing.
They're not useless. Not completely useless.
It's just a funny word.
It is a funny word.
And a funny bit of produce.
Yeah. Yeah.
Any other thoughts, questions?
Garret.
Fine.
Sorry, over here.
Yeah.
When you read the play, how long did it take you to get to the vision that you put up on the stage?
So this is the first play that I have directed that I have not immediately seen the set or immediately seen the environment that this play takes place in my head. I had a big struggle sort of seeing the thing. It reads very cinematically to me, so that's interesting about the screenplay. It's just so in its location. He's written that a car is on stage. He's written that a deer is on stage. He's written that a cabin is on stage. And in theater, we get certain licenses that you don't get in film or in television, which are generally pretty realistic. We're a theater, so we can use our imagination. We can expand reality how we want. And so I was interested in honoring what he's written, a car, a deer, a cabin. How can I still play with the environment and embrace theater, use this art form to tell this story, rather than just making everything hyper-realistic? And yeah, so I kind of came to this. The only thing I knew I wanted was a huge slanted window. I wanted something that imposed on the space, and it felt like an impeding structure. That's all I knew.
But that, if I just to briefly interject, that I mean, I never thought of the slanted window, which I told you was really great, I think. But this, I mean, what you came to on your own is always sort of what I imagined, that the car would be stylized, it would have to be stylized, and then you have this house. So, I mean, I think that's it.
Yes.
I just want to comment on the beauty of the set.
Yeah.
Yes.
The lighting.
Yeah.
And that it really creates solitude. You are in the woods.
And the lighting and the forest out there, that was incredible.
I'm
Yes.
so glad we had a wonderful team of designers all the way around. Very dedicated, awesome people. Yes.
So this is the world premiere, and I wondered if it's already scheduled someplace else because somebody's watching it and went, oh, we have to do that too, or typically how being produced once provides other opportunities.
We'll see. There's nothing. There's not another production that I'm aware of, but it's being handled by DPS and an agency, and so I honestly am a little out of the loop. But I certainly hope that that it'll lead. Just the very existence of a production says to other people potentially doing it's okay. It can be done. You know. So I certainly hope that this will catalyze a further life for this piece.
You were asked earlier if you were thinking about or working on turning this into a screenplay, and you said you're working on another screenplay. Can you tell us anything about it so that when we see it on the big screen, we know what yours is?
Well, I'm gonna do a screenplay, I think, of another play of mine called Empanada Loca.
Say it again.
I did a play a year ago called Empanada Loca, which is a sort of contemporary Washington Heights Sweeney Todd story. It's a one-woman play, and that's starting to be done now. That was also published by DPS, and but that I think I'm going to do next. Not next, but in terms of film screenplay, that's the next project. That's not for the theater.
Just ask so we can follow you.
Yeah, I think it's that. But we'll see.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Aaron, for coming.
Thank you all.
And thank you all for coming and supporting Live Theater in a world premiere and for staying after to talk with us. We could not do what we do without you. You are the blood and air of this theater, so thank you for your support.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.